Looking for a trusted supplier for all your household hardware needs? Look no further than Competitive Hardware Limited. We provide top quality building materials including cement, all types of iron sheets, paints, PPR and PVC pipes, electric pipes, building grills, BRC and square till in various sizes. Need interior and finishing materials? We've got you covered with gypsum, gypsum rails, marine boards, ceiling boards and tanks of all sizes. For fencing, we stock barbed wire, chain link and wire mesh. And the best part, we offer free countrywide delivery with our fleet of transit trucks and pickups. Your order arrives on time, every time. Visit us in Kitengela along Namanga Highway, opposite 411 stage, or at our branches in Kitisuru and Busia. For enquiries, call us on 020-26-88-888 or 0733-666632 or 0721-923248. Competitive Hardware Limited, your reliable hardware supplier. Almarai Company, in collaboration with Competitive Manpower, is urgently hiring for the following exciting roles: Grade 1 mechanics, panel beaters, refrigeration technicians, lead mechanics, diesel plant mechanics, welders and stainless steel welders. Why apply? This is a free recruitment with no application or placement fees required. Contact us today on 0721 506627 or 0733 392180. You can also visit us at Waterseas Plaza, Kikorok Road. Alternatively, you can send an email to info@competitivemanpower.com. Apply now. Limited slots available.
A good morning to you. Welcome to the CBS newspaper review this morning. My name is DANFLO LINDWE and I have a guest with me.
Joseph Mathenge.
Joseph Mathenge is here with me to help me review the newspaper this morning. We have the Standard newspaper as well as the Daily Nation. So I'll just read out the headline here at the Standard newspaper, and Mr. Mathenge will be reviewing the Daily Nation with us. Now, for the Standard newspaper, Ruto's seal grab, and that is the picture. That is how the front page of the Standard newspaper appears this morning. We can see a picture of President William Ruto there, and the Standard newspaper also puts another headline there: Ruto amasses power. What about the Daily Nation?
On the Daily Nation has this headline: no one wants to touch, no one wants to deal with.
Yeah, interesting story there.
Yes.
So according to the Standard newspaper here, the top story, raw power. So a quietly passed law transferring the public seal, a symbol of government authority, from the Attorney General's office to the President's Chief of Staff may have troubling implications, according to the Standard. Now, legal experts they now fear that giving the President unchecked control over such a powerful instrument could enable deals bypassing the Attorney General and other key institutions, undermining the national principle of power sharing among branches of government. Now, the story goes on page 4 of the Standard newspaper. Now, as we know, the current Attorney General is yet to respond to these allegations. Different arms of the government ought to work separately. You know, there's a reason for why the public seal is with the Attorney General. The Attorney General is the he's the custodian of that seal.
In fact, he is indeed.
Yes.
The custodian of the deal, of the seal that is the symbol of the symbol of unity,
yes,
also the symbol of power in government.
Yeah.
Actually, that seal, without the seal, nothing is actually. If you don't have that seal,
yeah,
it means you've not been empowered yet.
Okay.
Any document that you have and doesn't have the seal of the seal of the the coat of arm,
yes,
it means it's null and void.
It's null and void.
And so it's only the Attorney General who has the right to I mean, to keep it in his custody.
Yes.
Yes.
Remember, the Attorney General is the legal advisor of the government, of the president, of the government particularly, and legally it is his mandate to ensure that before the public seal is used, he ensures that what is being stamped is legally correct. It stands to help the nation. And according to the Standard newspaper, the public seal is a symbol, like a stamp, used to authenticate official documents to represent a government. It is a way to show that a document is real and legitimate, usually affixed to important papers like decrees and contracts. In Kenya, the public seal is one of the national symbols, along with the flag, the anthem, and the coat of arms. Now, former Attorney General, that is Justin Muturi, is a quote by Justin Muturi reads, "If documents can be signed and bear the public seal without the AG's legal advice, that is a serious issue. I'm sure they are avoiding accountability by transferring matters to the head of public service office, where they can use them however they want, since there are no checks."
And that is also a reason to worry.
Yes.
Because in the government, every department has its own, has a role to play.
Yes.
And responsibilities are actually upon the Chief Justice, I mean the Attorney General.
Yeah.
So once that seal has been transferred from the office of the Attorney General to somewhere else, we have every reason to worry. The public has a reason to worry about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like basically the government is usurping the roles of the Attorney General. And I've seen here a quote by Gitobo Imanyara, a lawyer, and he says, "We are living dangerously. The seal can now be taken to Sugoi, to Dubai, or anywhere to serve personal interests."
I once had somebody who is a chairman in an organization.
Yeah.
And this organization has a director of finance. It has a director of finance. It has also a secretary, it has a general, and all that. But you find that the chairman, he's the one who carries everything. He's the one who carries even the checkbook in his pocket.
Yes.
He walks with the check in his pocket.
Yeah.
Everything. Although there's an office, but in the real sense, the office is in his pocket.
Yes.
He walks with with everything in his pocket.
Yes.
Even all the stamps, he is the one who carries all these things. So I tend to think that the government also, I don't want to think that government should head to that direction, where it's only one person who carries everything, despite of having other people who are supposed to play those roles.
Yes.
Yes.
So basically, of course, we're seeing here an issue where the government is usurping the powers of, particularly the executive, of other arms of the government. And according to the Standard newspaper, the words used are Ruto's silent power grab, and the public still fuels fears of legal chaos and abuse. Now it's like, before the government implements anything, any contract, any decree, it is the Attorney General, as the legal advisor of the government, is supposed to go through it. But now it's like things will just be will be passed and pushed onto Kenyans without the advice of the Attorney General. And despite that, we've not seen Dorcas Oduor, that is the present and first AG to be denied the custody of the public seal. We've not had any comment from her, any response. We're hoping maybe she can come out to respond to this.
So you mean to say that Oduor is just there as a figure?
She's just there as a figure, yes.
She has no role to play, although she's the Attorney General, but she cannot pass anything, she cannot make any decision.
Yes.
That's what the newspaper is telling us.
And remember, she's the first female Attorney General. The first Attorney General in Kenya was Charles Njonjo, who served from 1963 to 1979. We had Amos Wako from 1991 to 2011. Then Githu Muigai from 2011 to 2018. Then recently we had Justin Muturi, who served till 2024 from 2022. Now, of course, they're saying that it is the head of public service, the chief of staff, who is Felix Koskei. He's now the one handling the public seal.
And that is also a reason to what I said earlier on.
Yes.
And by the way, who was the longest serving Attorney General in Kenya?
I think
Would you remember?
Who do you think it is?
I think that was Amos Wako.
Amos Wako.
Yeah, Amos Wako is the one who served the longest time with either him or Charles Jonjo.
It's definitely, okay, yeah, it's either of the two. They had the longest tenures.
Yes.
Yes.
That was during the time of Moi, and then the time of the first president, the Jomo Kenyatta, had actually Charles Jonjo served served two presidents.
Yes.
The first president,
yes,
the Jomo Kenyatta, and then President Moi.
Okay.
Yes.
So that is the story there about the public seal. We're hoping that can be addressed soon, and the current AG can be put to task to explain why that seal was handed over to the head of public service. Let's go to the top story in the Daily Nation.
Now, like I told you earlier on, we have nurses who are actually tossed left, right, and center.
Yes.
We don't know. Actually, these are the people who frontiered actually during the time of COVID-19.
Yeah.
Nurses, and then most of the nurses and also all the paramedics were actually were actually afraid of dealing with patients
yes,
of COVID-19.
Yeah.
But these are the people, the ones we are seeing here, are the ones who frontiered actually to deal with those cases.
To be on the front line.
To be on the front line. But today, and they had been promised that they will be taken by the public commission, public service.
Yes.
So, yeah. But now, since then, they are nowhere. They are neither with the county government nor the national government. So they are tossed in between.
Yeah.
Yes.
And are they receiving salaries?
Actually, most of them they are not, because nobody is taking the responsibility to deal with these nurses.
That is quite unfair. Hopefully that can be addressed as well. And remember, now moving back to the Standard newspaper, remember yesterday, Trans Nzoia Governor George Natembeya was arraigned in court for allegations of graft, alleging to have mishandled up to more than 4 billion Kenyan shillings. And yesterday he was released. This is on page 2 of the Standard newspaper.
Yes.
So Trans Nzoia Governor was released on Monday in connection with a 1.2 million graft case, a defense lawyer's term prosecution case as speculative and political harassment. Now he was given, he was released on cash, 500,000 cash release, or he was given an option of bail, of bond, 1 million in bond.
And one of the charges I saw is that he was also charged because of the destroying of property of the vehicles that were actually destroyed at his place in Trans Nzoia.
Okay.
And then he was not, although he was not there, but those charges were put on his side.
On him.
On him.
Yeah.
Now the question is, when does somebody become in charge of head responsible for something that is has occurred in his homestead?
And yet he was absent.
He was absent.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is him who should be held responsible. That's what I'm reading the paper.
The court is saying.
Yeah.
Remember, after Natembeya was released, he was barred from accessing his office for up to 60 days. And also he was told not to leave the country and without permission from the courts. Now, some are speculating that the move to bar him from office for 60 days could be, some are saying there are plots to impeach the governor in Trans Nzoia before 2027. Already we have had a governor impeached. That was from Meru County. That is, her name is Mwangaza, Governor Mwangaza, the former governor. And now this, we don't know if he will actually be impeached, if it is just social media rumors, but hopefully we'll be keeping you updated on how that story, it is a developing story.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the governor since he left the court yesterday, he's not spoken, he's not talked.
Well, he may not talk because, again, he may not actually talk because at the moment, he's actually, there's a matter that is court. That could be contempt of court if he talks about what happened. But his lawyers can talk about it, but not him.
Not him.
Yeah, there are issues. There's a boundary actually between now and that time. He cannot talk about anything. Yes.
Okay, now moving on to page 3 of the Standard newspaper. At the bottom, a crime story. So mystery surrounds Catholic priest death amid church silence. So remember, this was a Catholic priest who hosted His father, John Maina, he hosted the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua 2 weeks ago at his church, together with the other allies of the former Deputy President. And it was reported that last week, Thursday, he was kidnapped, and now he has appeared dead. And the Catholic Church is still silent on this.
Actually, the story of Father Maina resembles that story of Father Kaisa.
Yes.
Same around the same area. That's when Father Kaisa was killed. And this time round, we have now Father Maina again around the same area. Although he did not die on the spot, but it was within that area.
Yes.
Actually, he was rushed to the nearby hospital, that's St. Mary's.
By Boda people.
By the Boda. My question is, and this is a question that arises in everywhere, why is it that the church is not talking about it? And in fact, after post-mortem, the church directs the pathologist not to issue, to give, to give out, or rather, to tell the press the cause of the death. I don't know why.
Of course.
Although it has been fighting, it has been the forefront, fighting for the rights of everybody, and it has never kept quiet. Why in this case they are not talking? Yes.
I think, of course, and I've also seen the church very vocal, even before the 2022 general elections. The church was very vocal, even, we used to say that the current president in churches, the church is receiving so much money from the political class. Now that one of their own has been killed after hosting a political people who are politically affiliated to his church, we are not seeing any comments. It is actually,
it leaves a lot to be desired. Although we don't know why the church has kept quiet. Nobody's talking about it. In fact, one, the followers are the ones that are talking, but not the church authority. It is not talking. And it has, like you've said earlier on, the church has already been vocal. One of their own is dead here. It's not talking.
They're not talking.
They're not talking, yes.
And remember, there is a reason why church and state ought to be, they're different entities, So we are hoping maybe the church can speak on this. Lately, among the issues that have been happening in the churches have been calling out politicians, saying we won't give you any special treatment in our pulpits, no special recognition coming here to give speeches and attack each other on the pulpits.
Well, it is true we have seen churches, in the recent times, denying politicians opportunity to talk, in the church. But although there are some, some like Catholic, it's very hard. But I don't know, there's such, there are some actually who are doing that. Although some of them say they will not allow, and especially ACK. Yes. So in some churches, they are not giving opportunity to politicians to talk or even to greet the congregation. But again, it's the church and the government or the politicians. It's like they are trying to put themselves in. To put a boundary, but it's not possible.
It's not possible.
It's not possible.
But there ought to be a boundary.
It should be there, but it's not there. And that's why you see most of the time when these politicians are going to church, they have to invite the media. They have to invite all the communication departments to be there. Yes. So it's another way of looking for public where they can address public. The public. Yes.
Okay, now moving on to matters, elections, the 2027 general elections. There is a story here on the front page of the Standard newspaper on my bottom left. 2027 general elections at stake. The headline reads, IEBC warns. Now, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has told the Apex Court that failing to carry out the constitutional exercise of redrawing electoral boundaries before the next general elections will render the ballot invalid. Now, the story goes on page 6 of the Standard newspaper.
My question is, these boundaries, why should the IEBC keep on rebounding them every now and then?
I don't know, but perhaps it is just to ensure that they map out all the polling centers. It is a constitutional mandate, so
when was it? We are told that the last time that was done, the boundaries were done, and so when was it? It was 2020, when was it? 2022?
Before the general elections.
Before the general elections, yes.
Yes.
And now, again, they have to do it again.
Yes.
The boundary, if, for example, if we know the boundary of your land is here,
Yeah.
why do you have to keep on saying, let's check again?
It's good to keep reaffirming, eh? Let no one steal your land. Let the boundary be ascertained, you know.
Yes.
Now, of course, according to this story, failure to create the new boundaries
Yes.
will affect the 2027 polls. That is according to IEBC. Now, the electoral agency, however, admits that time for the review has already passed, and one lawyer suggests that the boundary review be carried out by July of next year, that is 2026. Now, of course, already the 2027 general elections
Yes.
are already being put into question. First of all, there are those of the opinion that the next general elections should actually be conducted in August of 2026 and not 2027.
Why 2026?
Now, according to the lawyer on social media, that
Yes.
is Willis Otieno. Willis
Yes.
Otieno has been pushing on social media, and he's saying, according to the constitution, elections should be carried on the 5th year, not after 5 years.
Now, when we look
some
at this,
grammar there.
on the 5th year,
On the
and not
5th year,
after 5th year,
and not after
or
5 years. Yes.
Now, the election was done when? That
2022.
was 2022 August.
Yes.
Now it's at 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027. So to 2027 should be the 5th year.
Yes.
Not after. When you talk of after, it means then it should be after maybe 2028.
Yeah.
But the 5th year here we are seeing is 2027.
On the 5th year.
Yes, I don't know, on the 5th year,
Yeah.
the 5th year, that should be 2026, 2027.
Okay, so again, another issue surrounding the coming general elections is the selection process of
Yes.
the new commissioners. You know,
Yes.
some feel that those elected to be the new commissioners, they are politically affiliated to some people, and they may not be as neutral as they ought, as we expect.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay, I tend to think also the criteria used to appoint the commissions
yes,
should have been left to the public, not to the should have been open.
yes,
Yeah, so that everybody is actually involved in that
Yeah.
selection.
yeah.
But if left on one side, I'm sure you and I can guess. Your guess would be mine as mine. You should be better with mine.
Okay. So we are hoping to see how that goes. And according to the standard, what IEBC lawyers are saying, so the legitimacy of the 2027 polls will be in doubt if the review will not be done. And the court should allow the commission to do the review by next year, July. The court should wind the clock back, factoring in the time commissioners were not in office. And there is a danger of underrepresentation and other ripple effects of not having boundaries, the boundaries delimitation. The Supreme Court should salvage the situation that has serious consequences for the country. We are hoping, already there is a petitioner in court.
Yes.
He seeks that the selection process, he's saying
Yes.
the selection process of the appointment of the new commissioners,
Yes.
he says it was not conducted in a transparent manner. It was opaque. Particularly, remember, there was a report after the once the selection panel, panel had completed their work.
Yes.
They were to submit a report with the names, with up to 6 names of commissioners,
The nominated
nominated
names.
commissioners,
Yes.
as well as the chairperson of the commission.
Yes.
And this report was only given to the president. So only the president had that report, yet it ought to have been made public. So that was one of the issues the petitioner pointed out.
Because the law is clear,
Yes.
that it should actually be handed over to either the parliament,
Yes.
or it should actually be given to the public. I
Yes.
mean to the parliament, so they can actually vet out all the commissioners.
Yes.
But if it was not, then again that's another reason to worry. Yes.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll be keeping updated on how the IEBC will conduct that, and how the 2027 general elections will be conducted, particularly seeing just the preparations to the general elections.
Yes.
Is already facing a lot of issues, quagmires,
Yeah.
which are worrying actually. Any interesting story there in the Daily Nation?
Oh, in the Daily Nation, I've come across a story here.
Yes.
Where again we can see schools again
Yes.
actually have another problem. They have no money. There's no money for our schools. Again, it's another reason we should actually be worried. And principals are asking for more funding in the schools, because we find there are so many activities that have been installed on them, yet they are not funded. So I think that should be addressed to by the government of the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
So remember, the government is it's actually mandated to deliver, to actually release the capitation to schools every term.
Yes.
But principals have been decrying that the capitation arrives late. It arrives, it's not complete, it's not the full amount.
Yeah.
First term, they ought to be getting 50% of the total capitation. Second term, 30%, and the final term, third term, 20%. But principals decrying that has not been happening as is expected. Now, still on matters education, here on the Standard newspaper, page 10, actually, TSC given 3 days to submit report on disputed promotions. Now, MPs directed the commission to submit the report before final meeting on Tuesday, which is today. Now, teachers' employers says rules were relaxed to ensure fairness and inclusivity. We have been highlighting for you this story where the TSC boss, that is Nancy Macharia, has been facing backlash over the recent teachers' promotions. Some say they were unfair, and MPs particularly have been saying that teachers are not, MPs are the Parliamentary Commission, the Parliamentary Committee on Education, has accused TSC of disadvantaging some sections in the country in the recent promotions. Now
they're saying about how many, about 5,291 teachers have been promoted unfairly. I don't know why it should be the case. And when you see this happening, again, like we're saying, all these institutions, they have there's a procedure. There's a procedure of actually even promoting anybody, promoting the staff. There's a procedure. If the procedure is not followed, we end up having all this kind of back and forth.
Interesting story there. Now, another political story I've seen here on the
Looking for a trusted supplier for all your household hardware needs? Look no further than Competitive Hardware Limited. We provide top quality building materials including cement, all types of iron sheets, paints, PPR and PVC pipes, electric pipes, building grills, BRC and square till in various sizes. Need interior and finishing materials? We've got you covered with gypsum rails, marine boards, ceiling boards and tanks of all sizes. For fencing, we stock barbed wire, chain link and wire mesh. And the best part, we offer free countrywide delivery with our fleet of transit trucks and pickups. Your order arrives on time, every time. Visit us in Kitengela along Namanga Highway, opposite 411 stage, or at our branches in Kitisuru and Busia. For enquiries, call us on 020-26-88888 or 0733-666632 or 0721-923248. Competitive Hardware Limited, your reliable hardware supplier.
Join our team at AYTB in partnership with Competitive Manpower. AYTB is seeking qualified candidates for the following positions: Technical Advisor, QA or QC Personnel, Shop Coordinator, Report Organizer, Rotating Equipment Repair Technician, Valve Overhaul Technician, Machining Technician.
Contact us today on 0721-506627 or 0733-392180. You can also visit us at Waterseas Plaza, Kikorok Road. Alternatively, you can send an email to info@competitivemanpower.com. Apply now. Limited slots available. Competitive Manpower International Limited is recruiting delivery riders in the United Arab Emirates. If you have a passion for the road and a desire to work in a fast-paced environment, then this is your chance. Don't wait. Send your applications to competitivemanpower@gmail.com. Want to apply in person? Visit our offices at Kiko Road behind the Casa Hotel, KCB River Road, Nairobi. For more details, call us now on 0721 506627 or 0733 392180. Act. First opportunities are limited. Secure your spot today and start your journey as a delivery rider in the United Arab Emirates.
Now, welcome back, and sorry for that small technical hitch. Now, we're back on the newspaper review, and we're just discussing, we're talking about how, now moving on to matters politics. We're still on matters politics, and on matters regarding Gachagua, the next general elections. According to the story on page 5 of the Standard newspaper, your ticket will give Ruto easy ride back, Kioni tells Gachagua. Now, according to this story, the opposition, a section of the opposition actually wants the former deputy president Rigathi Gachagua to shelve his ambitions to be the next president of the country, and they want him to back Fred Matiang'i.
Fred Matiang'i, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I tend to think also on the same page. I'm on the same page with this, the politicians who are suggesting that Gachagua should actually pave way for Matiang'i.
Yes.
Reason being, Matiang'i, if you look at him keenly, when you look at the story keenly,
yes,
Matiang'i has a larger, I mean, his chance of actually being the strongest candidate,
yes,
are higher,
yeah,
wider. Reason being, he cuts across. But Gachagua, with a few dents here and there, he may not be the best candidate.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's actually true. Gachagua, yes, even according to Kioni, Gachagua's candidature will attract votes in Mount Kenya region and not from any other community because of various factors that include the tribal tag. And remember, yes, Gachagua, since even when he was the deputy president, yes, he was very vocal about Murima, you know. Murima, yes, Murima Isiguzwe. And it even became a meme, you know, yes, on social media. Kenyans used that, made banter out of, yes, it. So Gachagua has mainly branded himself as a Mount Kenya leader, you know. And again, he doesn't appeal, yes, he doesn't, at a national level. In fact,
remember even Kioni, Kosi is also from Mulima,
yes,
and he can see the point.
Yeah.
He's actually coming up with this suggestion,
yes,
saying Gachagua should not be the right candidate, the right person to face Ruto because of now Mulima. Again, that again tells you, yeah, he has all the information. I think Mulima should it's just a section of, yes, the Kenyans, of the country. Yeah. And we need somebody who can actually cut across. Yeah. Yeah, and that is Matiang'i. From all between him and Gachagua, yes, Matiang'i, I think, stands a better chance of facing Ruto.
Yes, but you know, this also comes at a time now. The next general elections will definitely be one of the highly contested, one of the highly watched. You know, according to Gen Zs on social media, and remember, yes, they're the ones that were very vocal last year during the finance bill, yes, with the anti-tax protest, yes, and they're saying they want policy changes. You know, like, yes, the problems in this country are, yes, not even, they're not. It starts with the policy, you know. Yes. And they want someone who implements the policies as given, who follows the constitutions, who, you know, upholds the rule of law. And one thing also the Gen Zs have been saying is that they don't want someone whose political career is already mad with the, you know, issues. It has, yes, issues. Like, we're seeing recently when Matiang'i came back into the country, yes, of course there was a lot of there was a lot of jitters, and social media particularly, people were aroused, and he was received in Kisii, you know.
Yeah, sure. And again, actually, Matiang'i, yeah, Matiang'i, he's actually proud as the product. He actually, the reason as to why he actually found himself in this state of now vying for the position of president's position.
Yes.
It's because of the Gen Zs.
Yes.
Number one, remember Gen Zs are the ones who came up with this, who actually demanded that need to him. They actually looking for him.
Yes.
He should be the next president of this country. Those are the people who came up with this. Actually, they are the ones who actually forced Matiang'i to be where he is today. And therefore, like you've just said, coming general election, next general election,
yes,
I can foresee Gen Z's actually this time round coming out in large numbers actually.
Will definitely, Gen Zs will definitely be coming out in large numbers to vote. But now the question remains, it's like our votes are being split, there are those who are in support of the Maraga and Omtata ticket, and they feel that these two will, they don't have, their political background is not mad with corruption cases, cases of any case, and they have a clean slate.
But again, when you look at now, let me cut you short. When you look at Maraga, Omtata, and Matiang'i,
yes,
among the three,
yeah,
who do you think has weight in the nation nationally?
Honestly, of course, a section of us were scared that Matiang'i has higher chances, it's
yes,
true. But at the same time, what Gen Zs actually wanted was someone who upholds the rule of law. And do you think the Matiang'i-Gachagua combination, do you think that that ticket will uphold the rule of law? Will they follow the constitution to the latter, or will they go against it?
Maybe you need to go back to the history of these two people,
yes,
and mostly Matiang'i.
Yes.
Look at what he did when he was the minister for the CS for ICT, then he became the CS for education, and finally he was an interior cabinet secretary.
Yes.
Look at his performance. You can tell whether this man will be able to adhere to the rules of this country. Look at that. Yes. His performance will tell you.
Okay.
Yes.
So we are waiting to see who will be elected in the coming polls. Remember, someone else who is vying and has aired his ambitions to vie for the top seat is Peter Salasia, the Mumias East MP. Is it, some say he's a joker?
What do you think? What do you think?
I think it's good that he's very brave and he's ready to air out his ambitions.
And he's allowed. He's within his constitutional right to do so.
Yes.
Yeah, but again, like you're saying, the more we have more candidates,
yes,
the more
the votes will be split.
Yeah, votes will be split.
Yeah.
If they want to deal with the Ruto, yeah, they need to sit down and agree to have one candidate.
Yes.
Like it was done during 2020, during 2002,
yes,
during the time of Moi and Kibaki. They should do that. If not so, I can tell you for sure they will not make it. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Again, so there are two goals here.
Yes.
The first goal, according to the nation and people out there, yes, it's that it is to remove the current president.
That's the core business.
That's
here.
the core business. That's the core business. But according to the Gen Z, that's just not the core business. Yes. The core business is also to put there someone who upholds the rule of law, because this is the generation of people that is dealing with unemployment and they're blaming the policies in place. Yeah. We're having a government that is putting in place policies that are not encouraging the growth of businesses in the country, encouraging investors to come in. In fact, we're seeing more investors going to Tanzania, and our neighboring countries in East Africa are actually laughing at us because we are no longer the economic hub we used to be.
We are no longer actually, and that's very sad because we used to have in fact, our investors from outside, yeah, who actually landed in Kenya. Their first place to land was in Kenya.
Yes. And
now you see them going out. It's like when you see this kind of politics.
Yes.
This kind of politics is like investors don't like this kind of politics.
Yes.
The kind of environment they are in today, political environment, is like scaring away birds.
Yes.
Investors are like birds. When you bring this kind of politics, you are scaring them away.
Yes.
That's why they are actually moving to other countries within the region.
Okay.
Yes.
So also remember, President William Ruto has said he will defend his seat. We're also seeing comments from Kapseret MP, that is Oscar Sudi, and he says, "Kura tutajaza."
Now, what does that mean? Kura Tajaza.
Kura Tajaza, and
Yes.
even people from Western Kenya actually. I saw a clip on social media yesterday.
Yes.
It was actually a news item, and people from Western Kenya are saying, we want to hear from Sudi. Hizi kura tajaza anazitoa wapi?
Where they come from?
Where atazitoa wapi? So definitely the next general elections will be a very interesting one.
And now that takes us back to the IEBC boundary.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That this is the time they should be done? Actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it is having a lot of issues around it.
You know, it means now people will be moved, be transferring their votes from one region to another, or from one place to another. Now that's another things to look at.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting. Any interesting story there in this?
Yeah, I was thinking of this one.
Yes.
These roadside directives by the president.
Okay.
They can put many things into problems sometimes.
Okay.
Because you find, like, for example, the CS for social, this CS for culture, gender and culture.
Yes.
She says that when you look at the ministry,
yes,
it has now, because of these roadside directives,
yes,
now it has put into another problem of 4.3 billion budget hole.
Yes.
Yeah, and I tend to think president, before he makes any decision, any directives,
yes,
he has actually had to consult his officers,
yes,
or other cabinet and all that. Otherwise, they end up having problems. He may be doing that in good heart, but then before then, if he's not actually consulting them, he might find himself actually putting them in this kind of problem now.
Yeah.
Promising so many people so many things that are not budgeted for.
Yes.
That's what we are seeing here.
And remember, once Kenyans hear that promise of the 4.3 billion, whatever it is,
yes,
Kenyans they will go on social media and remind the president, you promised us this,
Yes.
In as much as the president might just be, those roadside declarations,
yes,
in the long run, Kenyans will actually put him to task, and they will ask him, you said this, like during the campaign season, he promised mothers that their newborn babies, they would be getting diapers for up to 3 months. There was a lot of support he pledged, but
yes,
to date, there's not been that.
Those are things I think the head of state should also be careful not to to give so many promises,
yes,
especially on the roads, by the roadside, or even in public rallies, before actually consulting with the ministries,
yes,
with his ministries. Because we end up having this kind of problem. Remember, we talked of the other day, we talked of how chapatis. That's again another problem.
yes,
Yes, I don't know how that came about. I don't know.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. He promised a machine that can make up to 1 million chapatis a day.
Do you know how that means? Instead of having a machine, I think maybe we should have talked of giving tenders to the hotels or restaurants.
Yes.
To be making the chapatis. Maybe somebody thought to make maybe 500 chapatis in a day.
Yes.
And then he'd be paid, other than using a machine. That would have been a good way of creating a job, business.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and the Kenyans, of course, decided to make a banter around it. Yeah, it's social media. Kenyans on social media, you don't mess with those people.
Yeah, sure.
And now moving on to matters business. Here on the Standard newspaper, social media rants won't grow economy. Industry PS fires back.
Yeah.
Now, the PS that is... he's Juma Muhwana.
Yes.
He says Kenyans spend a lot of their earnings on expensive imports, and the economy will only grow through development of manufacturing sector, he says, and not social media rants.
What do you mean by social media? Saying that social media will not grow economy. Maybe what is he saying about that?
So he's saying you might rant all you want online, but the state of Kenyan economy you might rant all you want online about the state of the Kenyan economy, but as long as you're not buying locally made products, your views will not amount to much. So this is a message by the PS who said, while the government is not averse to criticism, Kenyans need to play their part in growing local enterprises through buying locally made products. So he's saying we import a lot we do a lot of importation of expensive products, yet we don't buy from our local manufacturers and vendors.
So we are not actually promoting our own business, our own product, our own products.
Yes,
we are not consuming our own products.
Yes.
For example, like clothes, we have fiber, we have textile industries in Kenya.
Yes.
We do not actually promote them.
Yes.
You remember the story we had the other day about mitumba. Now, this is the story again. I think the PS is taking us to that direction again.
Yes, yes.
We find that a bigger percentage of Kenyans, say 70% per se, relies on mitumba, or maybe clothes that have been imported from elsewhere, but not locally made here.
Yes.
So we are not promoting our own. That's what she's saying.
That's what he's saying. And according to the standard, 7.3%, this is the decline in value of all goods produced in Kenya in 2024. So there's also a decline in production here in the country. Yeah. So that is actually worrying, because according to the PS, it won't grow the economy, which is actually true.
It is true,
for our economy to grow, we ought to be, we ought not to be having so many imports. For us to grow, we should be having more of exports. We're having our products, we produce them, and we're having, we've sold them locally, and now we have goods that, overflowing production, which is, we are able to export.
Yeah, we were able to export, but we are not.
We are not doing that.
Yeah, we are not doing that. There's, maybe, again, we need to find out from the Minister of, this, when it comes to exporting goods in Kenya, why is it that people cannot export goods? Is it because of the other day we saw the story where it was talking about pesticides and all that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So again, our products, before they are exported, remember, like European Union was actually reluctant not to consume to import goods from us, because of the way they are handled actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Kenya also there are international standards that we ought to meet while exporting our goods.
Exactly.
And so those are also supposed to be addressed to ensure that, the farmers, for example, like the pesticide story, the farmers ought to be given directives and guidance on, this is how, in case you want to export your farm produce, these are the standards we want you to meet to ensure that your products are accepted in the international market. Yes. Yeah,
the international standards.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So moving on to world news here in the Standard newspaper, Gaza rescuers report 44 people killed as Israel steps up offensive. Remember, internationally, there are a lot of wars going on. In Palestine, Israel, there's no ceasefire yet. Still in Russia, again, the Russian war, it continues. So Russia is trying to buy time to prolong war, says Zelensky. So the Russian war has been taking place since, it started in 2021.
2021.
And there's still no ceasefire. More deaths are being reported. And still on matters international, Trump now fuels Biden's cancer cover-up claims. Remember, there was a report that the former U.S. president, that is Joe Biden, has been diagnosed with prostate cancer. And it is at an advanced level, according to the reports, that it has even gotten to his bones.
Oh, this is very sad.
It is very sad.
Very, very sad, actually.
Yes, yeah.
Now, my question is, why is it that Trump is actually fueling that claim?
So according to this story, Donald Trump fueled speculations on Monday that Biden's cancer diagnosis was a cover-up, saying that he was surprised the public was not told about his predecessor's condition earlier. So he feels maybe, by the time we are getting this report that Biden has prostate cancer, we're hearing that it is at an advanced stage. Hadi imefika kwa bones.
But now that's the head of state.
Yes.
I should have, his health condition should have been detected earlier, because remember, he has all the health, medical officers and all that around him 24/7.
He has access to so much.
So much, actually. So it should have been known long time ago. Yes, I don't know why Trump now is saying that it's following up the the claim, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Trump also tried to tie the issue to a wider political realm, sparked by a new book released this week about whether Biden's White House covered up evidence of his cognitive decline while in office. So he's saying, he's alleging that this new story about Biden being diagnosed with cancer, it is a cover up for his
his failures
in office.
In office, yes. That's what he's saying.
That's what he's alleging. Now we'll definitely be seeing how that story progresses.
Yes.
Yes. Any interesting story on your end?
On my end, I was actually seeing a story here,
yes,
which was talking about, I think it was in that page, that the government
yes,
should actually be taking care of our sugar, sugar industries.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yes, because right now, there are so many things that are happening in our sugar industries. Like the other day, you saw people protesting
in Trans-Nzoia.
Yes. And I don't know why that should be the case. It should be actually, the government should fully support our industries,
yes,
our sugar industry, instead of having sugar, the product being imported from outside. Yet you have the sugar industries.
We have so many sugar companies in the country, starting with, particularly in Western Kenya and the Lake region.
Yeah.
There is Muhoroni, we have Trans-Nzoia, we have Mumias Sugar, which, we are seeing, Kenyans are saying, we are seeing packets of Mumias Sugar in the supermarket shelves. But when you go to Mumias, the company itself, you don't see the smoke. It's like there's no processing of sugar happening. Sugar.
So what does it mean? What does that mean? It means the product, with packaging, when packaging, that packaging is done by, it's not us.
Yes.
We are packaging product from elsewhere, not
elsewhere.
Yeah.
And also the Trans-Nzoia, like now the move to lease the sugar mills. For instance, we recently saw Rai came out saying he has been given control over he has leased the company for up to 30 years, which actually caused a lot of uproar on social media as well as on the ground, where Kenyans came together to protest the move. Now, according to Kenyans, these are public, they are parastatals.
Those are parastatals,
and now
indeed.
It's like the government is moving to privatize them, giving them to private individuals, private companies like Rai, who, at some point, recently, sometime
he does not have a good record.
He does not have a good record.
That's what he says.
And so we will see how that goes.
Let's see how it goes, actually. Yeah.
Now, moving on to matters. Any interesting story there?
Well, again, I'm seeing this story of Lamu, anti-terrorism operations.
Yes.
This is said to be far from over.
Yes.
Because we've been seeing issues arising on that side, so many attacks, and sometimes they are attacks.
Yes.
I don't know why we should say that it's actually far from over.
Yeah.
It's because our security personnel actually are there.
Yes.
The government has actually covered the area. It has ever since we started having this kind of attacks.
Yes.
The security has always been there.
Yeah.
But again, Lamu being it's actually Lamu is next to Mali and all that. When you look at that again, it is very easy for enemies to penetrate through the country using that area, that angle. So, and again, it's a very tricky area because of the forest that is there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember recently we had a report of up to 5 police officers being killed in the Boni forest in the area.
Yes.
And it was alleged that it was suspected Al-Shabaab militants who who killed the 5 officers. And so a security issue, and hopefully that will be addressed. Now, moving on to matters sports here in the Standard newspaper, a headline reads, Kipkeino Classic meeting now shifts to Ulinzi Sports Complex. Now, the 189 athletes to battle for the glory at Ulinzi Complex, and the government and Absa Bank Kenya have pumped in up to 300 million shillings and 60 million respectively in this year's showdown. Now, according to these stories, 2024 Absa Kipkeino men's 100 meters results. Last year, we had Bednarek Kenneth from USA who had 9.91 points. We had Matadi Emmanuel from Liberia. We had, so there were a number of winners. We had up to 8 winners. 2 from Kenya. We had At number 5, Ferdinand Omanyala. And at number 6, Odhiambo Mark Otieno, still from Kenya. So the 6th edition of the Absa Kipkeino County Continental Tour Gold Series, slated for Ulinzi Sports Complex in Nairobi, has attracted, it's set to start on May 31st this month, and has attracted up to 189 athletes from across the globe. So yesterday, the Kenyan government pumped up to 300 million shillings to support the event, as Absa Bank Kenya comes in with 60 million shillings as title sponsors for the 2025 edition. So we'll be keeping you updated on who will be representing Kenya in this year's Kipkeino Classic, which will take place at the Ulinzi Sports Complex. Now, any sports story from your end?
I think the story that I saw was in your page again, the last page of our Gor Mahia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, maybe you need to tell us about that, because I saw it's like the coach of Gor Mahia has actually moved on. He actually left the team to somewhere else.
Okay, so according to this story on the back page of the Standard newspaper, 4 coaches later and Gor Mahia can't find its footing in title chase. So Nam and Otieno to take charge of Kogalo in the remaining 3 matches after Mahik left the club. So the coach has left, Coach Mahik has left, and so record Kenyan champions are playing catch-up as Police look set to clinch title. So 2024-2025 FKF Premier League. So Gor Mahia coaches, we had Leonard Neighbor, we had Zedekia Otieno, Sinisia Mahik, now Michael Nam and Zedekia Otieno. So the current position, they're currently on position 3, and the remaining matches, they have remaining matches with the AFC Leopards, Ulinzi Stars, and the Kenya Police as well. So they're basically asking, when will Gor Mahia find its footing? Because, you know, it's like no coach is saying.
In fact, I don't know. The Gor Mahia actually being my team, actually,
Yes.
I don't know. It's why now we are having issues here. Because first of all, by the fact that our coach is actually leaving, that means we need to be very careful. We might, because we are the whole of the trophy that has been there, the title, and I don't. And although we lost it actually last week, early this week. No, that was last week. I don't know how far it will be. Our fate, but I know for sure everything will be back to normal, and we'll make it again. We'll even defend our position again, our title. Yes. So
Gor Mahia, the head coach, that is Mihik Sinisa, he resigned on Monday this week, and I think that the fact that no coach is staying long term, it brings up an image of instability.
Instability in the club,
in the instability in the club, and it's why the Standard is asking, will Gor Mahia find its footing in the title chase? So,
well, that's another thing actually to look at, or rather to watch, because that short-lived coaches, it
Welcome to Competitive Training Institute, empowering you with in-demand skills. At Competitive Training Institute, we equip you with practical, job-ready skills that open doors both locally and internationally. Whether you're aiming to become a qualified caregiver, certified plumber, skilled automotive mechanic, or want to learn a foreign language like French, Arabic, or German, and many more, we've got the right course for you. Our hands-on training, guided by experienced instructors and aligned with market demands, ensures you're ready to compete and succeed in today's job market. We don't just train, we help you get hired. Our job placement team supports you in finding meaningful work after graduation. We are proudly accredited by NITA, ensuring high standards in all we offer. Ready to begin? Call us on 020-200-192. or 0721 22 3081 or email us at competitivetraining@gmail.com. Your journey starts here. Let's build your future together.
And that story about Gor Mahia coaches brings us to the end of our newspaper review this morning. Remember to grab yourself a copy of the dailies to delve deeper into the stories we have highlighted for you this morning and those we didn't get the time to highlight for you. My name is DANFLO LINDWE.
And my name is Joseph Mathenge.
Have yourself a blessed day.
Okay.
Almarai Company, in collaboration with Competitive Manpower, is urgently hiring for the following exciting roles: Grade 1 mechanics, panel beaters, refrigeration technicians, lead mechanics, diesel plant mechanics, welders and stainless steel welders. Why apply? This is a free recruitment with no application or placement fees required. Contact us today on 0721 506627 or 0733 392180. You can also visit us at Waterseas Plaza, Kikorok Road. Alternatively, you can send an email to info@competitivemanpower.com. Apply now. Limited slots available. Looking for a trusted supplier for all your household hardware needs? Look no further than Competitive Hardware Limited. We provide top quality building materials including cement, all types of iron sheets, paints, PPR and PVC pipes, electric pipes, building grills, BRC and square till in various sizes. Need interior and finishing materials? We've got you covered with gypsum, gypsum rails, marine boards, ceiling boards and tanks of all sizes. For fencing, we stock barbed wire, chain link and wire mesh. And the best part, we offer free countrywide delivery with our fleet of transit trucks and pickups. Your order arrives on time, every time. Visit us in Kitengela along Namanga Highway, opposite 411 stage, or at our branches in Kitisuru and Busia. For enquiries, call us on 020-26-88-888 or 0733-666632 or 0721-923248. Competitive Hardware Limited, your reliable hardware supplier.